Lance Darnell. It's Sunday before the election. How do you feel about your first ever campaign?
Oh, first ever. Yeah, first ever. Maybe I'll do it next time, but this was wonderful. It was a really, really good learning experience. I came into it, probably could have had a couple more months or at least of preparation, but I came in head on and willing to learn from everybody I've talked to, and it's just been incredible. Just my eyes have been open to everything. Much more confident about where we're going to be in the next 4 years, whether I'm in it or not. There's some very, very confident people running. It's very going to be good.
Is that sun in your eyes too much?
No, now I'm good. Is that good? I'm good.
Yeah, as long as you're okay, and if it gets too much, we'll swing around.
Right on.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Your homemade signs were a hit. A buddy of mine said, I'm going to give that guy my vote just on his signs.
It's just a way of saving money. The signs are like $20 a sign. So the way I do it is $3 a sign and a little bit of hard work, right? But then I can use personalized messages like, hello, wonderful person, have a great day.
It's value added.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, it's a hit. It's a good idea. Maybe, you might have to supplement that with other signs. But
agreed.
You know what? A lot of people don't like the signs.
Especially this time when you see 29 of them, it really becomes a big deal. It's a mess, and it almost becomes hard just to make them out. And it has to be raised that if we would have taken all the money we've had from all of our signs and put them towards, say, giving money to the food bank would be set up for quite some time.
That's a good point. I'm just going to tie off this microphone. I see it bouncing, and sometimes I end up with a scratch, and I'm like, oh, there we go.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the signs. There's the economics of it too, right? New candidates are hard pressed to come up with that kind of money, right? And $3 a sign, but that's not the sweat equity, right? I've made things.
Yeah. So what I do is, as I'm making the signs, I'll listen to your interviews. So that way,
a multitask.
Yeah, that's it.
You can make everything cheaper that way.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's talk about some of the things that you learned on the campaign trail this time.
Okay, first thing is the homeless situation. The homeless situation was something I was going to have in my platform, but going door to door and listening to everybody, I didn't realize the magnitude of it. And that's why I did that thing where I stayed outside for 24 hours with the homeless people just to sort of see, because I wanted to know, was it actually like homeless people, was there something missing in our system and that's why there's so many homeless people? Was it really just them not caring? And so I did that, and it's definitely both things. But it's also, there's things missing in our system, like the day center idea where you wake up, you have a place to go put your stuff that's safe, you have a place to get a shower, have a coffee indoors, and then plan out the rest of your day. That was the problem. I was watching people get up, and what do they do?
That's pretty well the simplest and quickest thing that could be done with a benefit. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. And it can't be free, but it goes back to this thing, the other thing that I've really seen. This is kind of Lana's idea. Lana has this idea, is using volunteerism to not just make social services still what we have now, but expand them. And it's brilliant because we have so many different organizations and groups in the city. All of them have to have administration. All of them have to get donations. It's a waste. If you got them all together, and it's been worsened by COVID too, obviously, but get them all together, have a paid employee sort of look over that. Wow, we could make some amazing things happen then, because then you can have people committed and say, I'm not just going to volunteer, I will do this time, I'll be this place, and it's like a job, and it should be treated like that.
A volunteer co-op.
That's it.
With the overhead,
You could get the high schoolers involved, get the college involved. This
volunteer
could be
hub co-op. Yeah,
it's almost COVID's almost shown us that what we can do as a community when we do all come together, we can change the entire way we look at things. So why not do that? Continue that.
Good idea.
Yeah, not completely Lana's. Lana, obviously.
Lana's an oppressive person.
I met her. I fell in love with her in about 5 minutes. We shouldn't be talking about her on my interview, but she's very awesome. Yeah. But everybody is, every single person running.
Her, so.
Oh, that's right. She was the only one you endorsed too, wasn't she? And going by the Bay Today poll where the councillors vote for each other, you were 100% correct. So there you are.
Yeah, always make your prediction right before it's proven, right?
That's awesome. How are you liking the election? It's been good? It's been fun?
It was getting boring, so I decided to spice it up.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and, I went with the flow of my heart when it took me to this woman, Sylvia Ross. And it was a no-brainer after that. I had to write about it. Yeah. I knew it was going to take a little bit of it's kind of like pulling a Clark on Peter Cherico and give him a little tap on the ankle. But I thought she needed a voice. She deserved a voice. She earned the voice. She'd been through so much, and it was all recorded. She had the notes. It was a legitimate concern about how somebody handles conflict resolution and how somebody doesn't. And I think that's pertinent to a mayoral election. I think it's highly pertinent.
I agree. I think it was good that you did. I think Peter could. It's his opportunity now to resolve this situation in a really good way, and it would be great. Give him great kudos.
I actually drafted a video sort of Dear Peter letter last night. I'm not sure it's polished enough to use, but what it said was exactly that. I said, here's your opportunity. Stop listening to those other guys. Listen to the opportunity, which is to apologize and to pledge that you're going to ensure that that road allowance is treated like any other road allowance, and it's like the fact is it's not very developable. It's on an incline. It's heavy with rock underneath. Existing houses on the side. If you try blasting any rock there, you're going to be in a world of trouble. But she has a lot there, and there's another 6. So there's 136 feet there that could actually be made into something for the public there.
Wow.
Right?
That's a large space, yeah.
And then she has her lot, which is 80, which is fine, which is good. I don't know. There's an opportunity, right? So I think that something everybody can enjoy.
Yeah.
Right? If you can't sell it for anything for the city coffers, make it something for the public, at least sign it.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. So I think something good will come out of it. I know everybody's a little up in arms right now, but if they think about it and get past the part where somebody attacked their man and just sort of see it for what it is.
The greatest,
the
greatest friendships start with conflict, right? So sometimes it's a little bit of conflict that brings out things, and then you get to see where people stand, and you can get along better after that.
Sometimes. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Well, you had a little taste of community conflict in the last couple of years with the freedom movement, and I'd like to know what your involvement was and your viewpoints.
Well, I think when COVID started, I was like everyone else, where I was hiding inside, because initially the death rate was astronomically large, and I thought, oh my God, here we are. Waited a few weeks, and then the additional reports came out of, I think it was Oxford University in London, in England, and death rates went down. So I had a mini celebration with my family because we thought, yay, good. And then I waited, and then we're just seemed to be getting more shut down. So I got concerned because I thought, how are we going to get out of this other than vaccinations? And originally I thought, okay, well, they'll develop a vaccine, but then as soon as I started hearing multiple vaccinations, I got a little concerned that, oh my goodness, we're going to slip into the flu shot problem. And then if they make it mandatory, because so many people want to save their grandmother, they want to save everyone by doing whatever it takes. I could see the slippery slope. But you have to respect people, right? You have to respect the fact that we didn't shut down the long-term care centers fast enough, and that's why there was a lot of deaths. So you can see how it wasn't handled properly. When the thing happened with Ottawa, I watched it from afar, and originally I couldn't stand the honking. The honking was too much. I couldn't handle that. I would get a headache. But then after a couple of weeks, the police said, okay, no more honking. And the truckers agreed, right? So I'm like, hey, all right, maybe I could go check this out now. So I went and checked it out. It took me about 5 minutes, literally, to think this is amazing. This is absolute the spirit, everything. So I spent a couple of weeks moving garbage for the truckers, making sure that Ottawa was as absolutely clean as possible. And then the bad stuff happened, and I was there for that too. But the bad stuff happened, and then we're here. But yeah, that's something. But what I did with that, where I had this cause that I was very, very adamant about, and I was trying to see the middle ground. I wasn't trying to say that everything was a certain way. Obviously, there's both sides. But I pushed it, and I was willing to do anything. Moving garbage in minus 20. Sleeping. I was only on the streets for 2 nights. I had a place to stay a couple other times, but I was on the streets too, like just with the other boys. We had people from all over the country. It was incredible. But that's how I'm going to attack every issue. That's how I'm going to attack homelessness. That's why I was on the streets. Go right for it, right? That's how I'm going to attack making the city have more their projects, maybe bring in more capital. It's a corporation of North Bay. Corporations are supposed to make money for those in the corporation. We're in the corporation. So that's something, for the biofuel plant is an idea of that. So you have a biofuel plant, you sell the biofuel, you make money, helps out the taxpayers. Not just some, like for instance, the hockey rink's going to definitely help out some people, but not everybody. Something like the biofuel would help out everybody. Solar farm would help out everybody. So those are the things I'll fight for just as hard as I fought for the trucker thing, which has become a very, very hard issue to talk about because, you have to protect people. So
I thought there was other options the city could have done with the employees that lost
you mentioned
their jobs.
This. Yes.
I don't know. I looked at it like there had to be another way. Maybe just even if it was you don't get paid, but when all this is over, we'll reconsider, right? But to make it so finalized, right?
It's tricky because it's like you're saving your grandma, right? It's like we're all trying to save our grandmothers, so we should be doing everything we can. But it's about vaccine hesitancy. Vaccine hesitancy is actually shown to go up whenever vaccines are made mandatory. When you don't make them mandatory, you actually do get higher up. Once you make them mandatory, there's always going to be a 10-15% of people who will just not be told what to do, no matter what, even if it is the right thing to do. That's the tricky part. Also, I think it was also the fact that it's with the new CRISPR technology, it's new COVID, these new vaccines, and some people were a little bit hesitant. That's what it is.
I thought it was a good exercise in free speech, actually. I know a lot of people differ. There were some online problems. Of course, we got to figure out that social media platform stuff. But all in all, people got to have their say. I wrote a few columns on it. I
must have been great. Yeah, I did actually. Yeah. And you were very fair. You were showing both sides. There was definitely something, and it was a beautiful thing for Canada. We should be proud as Canadians. Because we're always seen as the quiet, polite person. But when we get up and we actually stand up for ourselves, the whole world saw that. And they'll remember that. It's a beautiful thing. It was actually a lot like in World War II when the Canadians went into the Netherlands and Belgium. And they remembered that the people in those countries remembered that for 40, 50 years just because of the passion we showed in what we were doing.
I'm sure the residents of Ottawa remember just as passionately.
Well done. Well done, Scott. But that's just the thing. I guess if you live in the nation's capital, it's going to happen, right? If you lived in the Roman Empire and you lived in Rome, stuff was going to go down. Hannibal was going to show up outside the gates once in a while. It was just one of those things, right?
All right, well, I'll let you get away with that. I know of somebody that was not only reluctant to get the vaccine, they were justifiably reluctant considering the more and more time that went and the more and more information was there. But the mandates were still on, although they were briefly off for international travel. Agreed. And then put back on. So with no evolution of understanding and reworking of the mandates to accept for one, like if you've had COVID twice, do you really need to get the shot, right? I think that would be counter to the whole thought about immunization, but so a little frustrating when things didn't evolve. I was a team vax there for when it happened because it was, I thought, a moment to be a community and do it all together and take the risks together. But I can understand why some didn't. But that was my viewpoint.
Well, I think with me, it was the fact that it's a coronavirus virus. So do you remember SARS? You remember SARS? Of course you do. Yeah. SARS was a big deal. I was right. I was in university at the time, so I remember very well that they were saying that the reason why they couldn't make a vaccine for SARS was because the vaccine mutated too quickly, and traditional vaccines at the time they couldn't be done. So their thinking was that, and that's why. So when MERS came out, same thing, couldn't be done. So when the coronavirus came out, that was my immediately thinking. I'm like, what are we going to do, right? But then they said with these new types of vaccines, they can they're going to give it another shot. Obviously didn't work. It mutates too quickly. It's been proven now. We kind of are seeing that. So,
then you get your gerbil badge, right? I got a gerbil badge, right? I'm part of the experiment.
Well done.
And I'm still living.
You're fine. Yeah.
This young gentleman I'm talking about that was reluctant to get the vaccines, yes. And he was watching, and he wanted to travel. He knew he had a certain deadline, and of course, the last day of getting it, so that you can get it for 2 weeks before you leave, he had COVID. So not supposed to get a vaccine when you have COVID.
Yes.
Right. But the guidelines said that he had to get a shot if he wanted to come back to Canada. Right. So he was up against the wall here. He wouldn't been up against the wall when he got it, when somebody advised him to. I'm trying to protect his identity here, but
well done.
He had to get it, and not only did he have to get it, they were only giving out Moderna, which was not advisable for his age group and gender, because they experienced already statistics that showed that possibly that wasn't good for his heart.
Very early too, they knew that as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he was forced to get the wrong one at the wrong time with COVID, so he could have it before he left. On the flight home, they announced the mandates dropped. Exact day.
Oh my God!
What a fucking
That's
zoo.
just terrible.
That's a circus.
That's
right?
horrible. That's exactly it. How can you
That's
have?
how ludicrous it was, right? The timing and politicalization of the mandates that didn't follow the science. They lost me on that.
No, there's no
They
integrity.
better have
Yeah.
their shit together better next time.
Agreed.
Right? Even
Agreed.
for a Team Vax guy.
Yep.
Right? So.
Oh, and look what we did to, you were mentioning, like all the city workers being, that the businesses being shut down, and we destroyed it. Some could even
It wasn't
say
handled very well.
it's terrible.
No.
No.
And so I hope we learned a lot. Anyways.
It was good to know that if anything like that does happen again, there is a good amount of Canadians who, if they're pushed for enough, we will stand up, which is nice. We'll stand up in a polite way with bouncy castles and hockey sticks, but we will stand up.
Well, if you nix the horns, because that drove me nuts and I thought it was rude. And the cause is just because we're not basing our decisions on recent data and information that we learned this time. I'll be there too.
Great.
Right? It
Yep.
won't just be you guys.
And that's awesome.
I didn't think it was at the time to do that. But I don't know. So let's get back to local stuff, because I just wanted to cover that, because I know you were involved.
And it hasn't been brought up.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it hasn't been brought up. Obviously, some people have been asked, but it hasn't been brought up publicly as a question of where does everyone stand on mandates, city mandates, because it would encourage the city businesses to drop theirs if the city dropped theirs. And considering we are, like you said, we're dropping them left and right, and it no longer makes sense, like you pointed out very clearly. Their reasoning needs to be re-examined. So
I think they may be legally justified and defensible in the lawsuits that they're facing, basing their decisions on the limited data they had at the time and the movement. But I would think they would have a hard time justifying it right now.
Agreed. That's a perfect. Couldn't say it better.
But looks like there's another outbreak of a new virus.
Everyone's getting sick on something, eh? How about that?
No, they're identifying it, and it's. Oh my God! If it ramps up again,
especially since it was the thing is, not to get into COVID again, but it was December of 2020. Everybody sort of got it, right, and then it came out again. It seems the same thing just happened, where everyone just got something, right? So let's hope. Let's hope people remember what you just said about how what they did, their methods didn't work. There was definitely mistakes in them. So even if you want to protect grandma and we want to protect ourselves, there's ways that we can still be responsible.
I tell you though, I don't mind the mask. Right? I've had so many politicians breathe their foul breath in my face.
I didn't think you were going that way. That was good. That was good. I thought he was going to say, I like the ninja look or something. No, yeah, that was good. Yeah. Yep.
Just kidding, guys. Kidding, not kidding? Is that the way?
That's a better way of putting it, yeah. Anyway, local politics.
Well, what do you want to talk about?
I think we hit my thing on volunteerism. It's big about that.
Yeah.
It helps with the transparency too.
Restructure volunteerism so it's more efficient.
Hire one person. Maybe it's one person for the city hall. Have them sort of organize this. It'd be really good. We could get those 75 different organizations that help the homeless down to sort of something a little bit more usable. Especially, and have the silos talking to each other more, right? That, and then my idea of a green future. Obviously, we're headed towards the zero emission future. That's what the Liberals want. That's a number of government. I think the Conservatives are for that too, actually. But if you read how they're going to get to this zero emission future, it's not all solar and stuff like that. One of the things they have right in there is biodiesel and stuff like that. So it's a way North Bay can jump the gun, get ahead of those things, get those government grants and everything right now, and be a leader instead of a follower. I like that. And then the last thing is the homelessness and everything like that. I'm totally for housing first, and for the day center, and for like putting effort into stopping it.
Another guy mentioned the biodiesel.
Michael Taylor.
Michael Taylor.
Yep.
Taylor. Yeah.
Michael Taylor's a great guy.
What's holding that up? What would hold that up?
I don't think anything's holding up. I honestly think that's simply, and Peter Chirko has expressed, he's definitely expressed interest in this. I think what's holding it up is just people don't understand what it really is about. Because who's read the emission report, the Canada's emission report, and seen how much is supposed to come from that? So when you see that they can't convert everything to electricity in even an amount of time, a number of people have mentioned that they can do it eventually. Scott Kyle being one of them, but it's going to take time, right? But if we switch over to biodiesel, we don't have to. We can do it on our own time. We can sell it to the community. We can have our own gasoline. Could you imagine that? And a lot of people drive diesel around here too, so it would help.
No, the price of diesel is making the market.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
Well, I hope that idea gets picked up.
I really like that idea because it was just a really good way of North Bay to become more self-sufficient, which is the old way. When I was growing up, that's what green used to be, self-sufficiency. That word has sort of gone out the window a little bit in terms of zero emission, but I like the self-sufficiency. That just needs to be back in there. Same with gardens. Clean green nipsing, there's a whole bunch of beautiful ones, but plant raspberries, plant perennials, plant stuff where we'll have fruit and trees growing everywhere. There is some. You can grow dwarf fruit trees in the North Bay. It's cold, but you can still do it. So that'd be another thing where it doesn't cost anything. It's just instead of planting one, you just plant the other, right?
I like that idea.
Yeah.
I got raspberries all over here.
Oh, it's
when
amazing.
I'm doing the lawn and I'm stopping all the time, I can barely get a lawn done.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're
Got
beautiful. This year they were
in the front. They were a little bit dry, but
but this year raspberries were fantastic.
Oh yeah,
really
had
good.
a good crop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I let them grow in little bunches here and there.
Yeah.
So, where did you grow up?
London until I was 10, then North Bay. Teenager in North Bay.
What high school?
St. Joseph's College Hall.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mother St. Bride's was the elementary school, and then Canadore, then Nipissing. I did the whole.
What did you take at Canadore?
Upgrading, and then I was going to go into engineering, so I was doing the start of that. But then a couple people told me, "Hey, you like your history? Go over to Nipissing." And there were some good teachers over there that got me in there. Good teachers at Canadore too, though. Yeah, Phil, Tom. There's really good teachers there.
Can you make a living knowing history?
I had to travel everywhere.
Yeah.
That's the problem, is you have to be open to, if there's a teaching position in Winnipeg, if there's a museum in St. Thomas, you go. So that kind of sucks. So with online, though, I've done online tutoring. That works a little bit better. Yeah, and since COVID, actually, it helps a lot. So.
Were you involved with museums, you said, I think?
Yeah, the Fanshawe Pioneer Village in London, Ontario. So it was really cool. It was like an authentic 1980s village, and then we had kids there. Then there was also a museum. Did the whole shebang. I was the curator. It was really great.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
I think history is important, and it's hard to make any money at it. So everything needs to be supported, right?
Back to volunteerism.
Yeah.
See, it all comes back to that, and just getting those people, finding those people with passion, like yourself, and putting them in the right position and giving them the supplies they need. Yeah.
5,000 votes probably needed to get on this council, eh?
Yeah, I probably started a little too late, and even though I may have had a few ideas that are good and are working, I think one person said it best when I've had the best traction for the dollar. I like that. That's a good way of putting it, because I haven't put much money in. I'm under $300.
Yeah.
I am dirt cheap because I don't have a lot of money, so it's just one of those things. I can't compete with even someone who's spending a few grand. It's just one of those things. So.
You're active on social media, though?
Very active on social media. And I'm very active in the community, but doing things but more grassroots things, like the freedom stuff and stuff like that. For instance, there's been a lot of people over the last 2 years who, due to the vaccinations and the mandates, have had a lot of hard times, and I'm helping those people very, right on, hands-on. And so that's the sort of stuff I'm used to doing. So I'm trying to bring my activism indoors, if you will, instead of on the streets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's... Actually, you can get a lot done that way.
That's exactly it. That's exactly. And people have recognized that I have the passion, so I just need to find the right area.
Well, I think you do all right. That's what's needed. Activists that can be focused and find achievables, right?
And won't have anything in their way, right? Well, it was brought up the last meet and greet. There's 29 candidates. 10 of them will get in. So that's 19 people. Passionate, who just spent the last 2 months just learning everything there is to need to know. Those are the people. If we're not all involved in community groups and whatever, it shouldn't have been elected even then.
I think it should be a requirement
Agreed.
of anybody that runs that they have to dedicate the next 2 years after losing to a cause that they haven't been involved with yet, or something.
I think that's a phenomenal
right?
idea.
Just to say, okay, like prove yourself. You took a run. I hate to make things mandatory, but
I'm against anything mandatory. I'm out of here. Stop this.
It should be a rule.
That was awesome. That's a great idea. Yeah. And the other thing is the signs. A lot of people are talking about making it so there's only a couple areas of North Bay that you can have your signs, so it gets a little condensed. I do like people having their signs on people's properties, though, because then it shows support. That's nice.
Yeah.
But in terms of just in the public space, we could condense it down.
Yeah,
Just Lee Park or something.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And
And then you know what? A great idea. A lot of people were giving donations to Boots on the Ground. A lot of people. Darrell Skinner, I'm going to give him a shout out. He's been doing it forever. What if we had a competition though? What if all the people had a competition of who could donate the most? Stuff like that. That's a really good way of getting your name out there, as opposed to signs and stuff like that.
how about if you get signs made, you have to match that in a donation?
See? This is great. We got good ideas. This is wonderful. And this is what's great about now. Everything's over. There's really not much we can do, right?
No.
So it's just good to sort of reflect on it and say, okay, what could have been done before? I could have started a year earlier.
Well, you're starting 4 years early.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
What a great time of year, eh?
Oh, it's just beautiful. Indian summer. It's just perfect. Yeah, I'm glad I came out here. This is gorgeous.
Yeah, it's the best time.
Yeah.
I was watching the leaves blow out of my gutter. I'm thinking, oh, if they dry out for another day, I might not have to pick them up.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mother Nature loves you.
You're a family man.
Mm.
How's it been as a family man raising kids?
Just the last. Oh, it's been wonderful. I stayed at home for the last 4 years raising my little one, and she's now 4. So that's been hell. It's obviously it's wonderful. It's gratifying and all those things. It's also hell. It really makes you see what mothers have to go through and everything like that. It's hard, and it's just keeping that passion going is probably one of the reasons why I've developed it. Just because you have to keep it going. You have to be the happiest person trying to cheer everybody up. I think that's needed in cities.
Is that natural for you?
Yes, very
You've
much
always
so.
been like that?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where, it's, pardon the expression, but you take the piss biting.
Pardon?
Take the piss biting.
Take the piss?
Take the piss biting. If someone's pissing in your face, take it biting. With a smile.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm not going to use that. But it's a good one.
Over the last 2 years, it's a good one to have had over the last couple of years if you,
Yeah. I'll think about that one. Sometimes they click with me and I'll use them in some way or another.
That's why they call them idioms, though, at the same time, because some of the person who said it is an idiot, so don't react.
There's the root word there. So what did you learn in history about North Bay area that is what you would call underknown, not as understood?
Well, everyone knows about the explorers coming through. That's pretty well known. We know that kind of thing. But I don't think people know how much industry has just sort of been through here, because we're the nexus of so many different transportation routes. At any time you look back, it's been some huge things. And people are talking about bringing that back right now. They're seeing where North Bay is and thinking, hey, we're right in this area. We have cold temperatures. We could do server farms. We could do all these types of things. And North Bay has always been like that. We've always been the nexus of all the transportation of everything, which has brought money. Yeah. So that's just the thing. I did a directed studies on North Bay history when I was in university, and I think I did it specifically on the old business owners on Main Street. For instance, there was a lot of Jewish business owners. There was a lot of different people from all over, and you could sort of trace the family businesses because they sold to this and they sold. I think we're on the 3rd or 4th generation now in some instances. It's
well, that's
cool.
Really interesting.
Oh, it's really you know some of this. I
know. I was just sucking up. I wanted to get you to write something for my magazine. Right back in the Bay magazine. Yeah. So I was just going to
I thought we're plugging you. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah. Well, I was hooking you into a commitment.
You're going to plug Bay today. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. How about you give a summary of a little thing about Main Street businesses from your studies already. And
oh goodness, that's been a while. I think it had to do with Deegan's, and it was all the places that came from Deegan's, and then where the people came from. That was the whole point. Is like, where did all the people in North Bay come
so what
from?
I want is your study or report, and I can make a story out of it.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll get it for you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I can take it up from somewhere. That'd be great.
Well, it's been peer reviewed, and it's accurate.
No, it's not peer reviewed. It's not peer reviewed, but I can get it peer reviewed.
Well, we should get it double checked to make sure it's accurate before you print it. Unlike most of my stuff.
But it's all good, because then you have an additional article and people can express themselves. It's wonderful.
Well, that'd be cool.
Yeah, that'd be
sort of recycle some of that effort.
Yeah, definitely.
And, my deadline's in 30 days, so I got a lot of things happening, man.
But really quickly, what about you? How did you like this election? What did you get from it? What did you sort of see, like, from the beginning to the end?
I was hoping for a closer race between Joanne and Peter, just because I thought it would be of good interest and get a lot of people interested.
Yeah.
I was a little disappointed in Peter's tact, and I thought all along I was trying to advise him that he really doesn't need to go there, but I guess they wanted to. Joanne didn't show herself, in my eyes, able to adjust and adapt and to. I know she's trying, and she's great effort. But there's a couple instances where I would say that she didn't quite read the room and pick up on it and come up with a winnable statement on a couple issues, right? Just from my observation. Really close, dynamic person. Probably could have used another term as a chair. I thought she would have been like a shoe-in for maybe the deputy mayor.
Yeah,
if she ran for
and
council.
very knowledgeable.
She was heading that trajectory. Then again, who knows what's going to happen? I know there's a lot of people supporting the idea of having a woman mayor, and that might generate a little bit more than I understand as far as votes go. My column that kind of put Peter in a bad light. And Wednesday came out when there was already 6,000 votes cast, right? And
wow! I didn't realize
early
that.
polls
How many?
and
Wow.
online, combination.
Wow.
So there's already 6,000 votes cast. So I don't anticipate necessarily a big impact there. If anything, at this point, I was kind of hoping to bring it a little closer, just because I think it's actually better for Peter to not have too strong of a mandate right
100%.
now, because he's got to work with the new council, and I figured, so when that story appeared, I thought that was a great time for her, and for I think the community. That's my position. So as for council, I see 5 new councillors that weren't on, new candidates, and I maybe even 6. There's a strong backlash against the old guard, right? And I'm not sure. Tanya hasn't been able to really campaign.
No.
Both her parents were in hospital, anyways, and
she should be able to run on her reputation, though. And I met her for the first time, and I was immediately impressed. So.
Well, she's worked very hard the last couple terms, right? And she's done fairly well. And but she's part of the old guard now, amazingly enough, right? Would the Ray Bosch supporters continue? Is Bill past his prime? I would say so. I've seen him. I think that spot should be somewhere younger and with newer ideas. That spot particular. Nothing against Bill, and Bill and I have clashed heads a few times, but
Bill's awesome.
With all respect,
yeah,
right?
of course.
That's a spot for somebody else right now, and I think he's got other things more important. But
it was brought up a number of times that, and I think just because people are concerned about a clean sweep or something like that some of the people leaving could always mentor the new councillors coming in, which would be a brilliant idea, especially with someone like Bill, who's got 78 years old, the experience.
He'd be an excellent guy to join Mac Bain on the the faux Senate.
Mac is quite impressive. Yeah.
I put him out to pasture with Bill, and in the end, but him and Bill can sit and be part of lead the Senate of the former councillors.
It's a brilliant. That's a good idea.
And whoever else doesn't get elected, they can all serve 2 years less a day as Senate members to mentor and to help guide some of these big plans.
I think that's a wonderful
I
idea.
think some people were saying we have too many people in council. I think we should restructure council. We should have 8 elected, and we should have a Senate of lesser paid and focused on specific issues. I've never really put it down on paper like that, but I think it should be restructured somewhat.
Never heard something like this. I like this.
So there'd be an elected council of 8 that would be involved with the mayor and making decisions at that level, municipal decisions, and the others who would like to serve a 2-year term, say, as a senator, with a smaller budget, not the full stipend, but something, but focused by council on a specific priority.
This would be excellent, especially if we implement the ward system by next year. You could have the ward people and then the extra couple people you're talking about in addition to everyone representing a ward.
That's a good idea.
It is, because you could have, that's I like this.
You're making your own model, right?
Yeah. And that's the whole idea. That's why ideas, and this is what we have to work with. We should be flexing it and doing every single possible thing.
Yeah, there's no reason why you keep doing it, because some people are saying that it's not working somehow, right?
Yeah. The world's changing. We need to change with it.
Mold it a bit better.
Yeah.
I hope to God the province doesn't give mayors more power outside the big cities, because that's just going to mess everything up.
I am very concerned about that. 2/3 majority, 2/3 to overvote the mayor too. That's crazy. That's what we're facing. And they're saying it's just going to be the big cities, but
once that cat's out,
if the province has a policy that they want to implement everywhere, it's going to be everywhere.
Of course,
yeah.
If they want to, they will.
That's exactly it. And once they have that precedent,
and after the election, they're going to count, see how many councillors how many mayors are actually conservative, and they'll do a little math there, and they'll decide whether it suits them.
You said it, not me. Yeah.
Yeah, I said it. Vic. Well, so you going to run again?
I'm going to do what you said, where for the next 2 years, I am going to get just as involved as if I actually got in.
Look at that. I spoke as if you weren't going to get elected. If not elected, will you run again?
Well, I like having low expectations, right? Low expectations are the key to happiness, right?
I think so.
Yeah, and out of respect to the other people running, people have put a lot of time and effort. There's some very qualified people, you know what I mean? So I would love to get in. I'll work my ass off. Pardon my French, but you always have to think otherwise. And that being, I will probably definitely like to run again in 4 years, because now I know where to put my energy. More homemade signs, no?
Well, I'm not bilingual, but that would have been derriere. You should come out and see my stand-up comedy sometimes. If I ever get back into it. I've been hosting these music shows where I'm just sort of not really doing a routine, but I want to come up with it would be a challenge for me to come up with a half-hour
show. That's what North Bay needs, though. They have such good funny people and funny artistic people.
There's a bunch of people in town that are hilarious.
Oh, it'd be brilliant. What a great idea, right?
Yeah. Maybe by next summer they'll be part of one of the festivals. I would hope so.
That'd be great.
Okay, well, we covered a lot. Do you want to cover anything else? Or?
I think we covered all my platform. Transparency on the homeless. We covered everything. Yeah, I covered housing first.
Yep.
Yeah, because I think obviously it's the less time out on the streets as possible. And everybody, I've watched all your interviews. Every idea has been covered. Not one single idea that I have heard from any candidate's mouth over the last bit has not been covered in one of your interviews. So we're good.
Well, hopefully some of those get automated.
That's what everyone's been saying. It's almost like a lot of people aren't going to get in, so at least they're ideas. That's great. It's what democracy should be.
Well, thanks for driving out here to the Hacienda.
This is beautiful.
You didn't mind.
Yeah, this is great.
Right on. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
And good luck tomorrow, and see how it goes.
Yeah, thank you.